Morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Monday, December 8th. I am still in Baltimore, in the lovely Lord Baltimore Hotel, which is quite nice, especially considering it's not very expensive. Right here in downtown Baltimore, just a couple blocks from the Inner Harbor. We took Brandon over there last night because he's never been there before. Always good having a rookie around on the beat to give you an excuse to do the touristy things you've already done. All right, I want to talk about the thing that everybody is talking about if you're on watching the ESPN shows or on social media this morning. It is the way the Steelers-Ravens game ended and was impacted by the officials, and why I think the NFL is being extremely stupid about the way it defines these plays. And I'm talking about the rule, which is the same rule, by the way, that applies to both the Aaron Rodgers interception, non-interception, and the Isaiah Likely touchdown, non-touchdown. And it's this idea that they've made a catch more confusing than it needs to be, and there is absolutely no benefit to them having done so. So the reason that we got from the pool report about the play from Lamar Jackson to Isaiah Likely in the end zone, when Isaiah Likely caught the ball and had both feet down in the end zone, was that he didn't complete the catch, meaning he had later dropped the ball, and he didn't take a third step or make a football move. That is the rule largely correctly applied. I have real questions about the Rodgers play. It's just that it doesn't make any sense for that to be the rule. How does it benefit the league to be more strict about what is a catch? First of all, we all know the league loves prioritizing offense. I mean, every decision they've made over the last 30 years has been about prioritizing offense, and look around, they seem to be working. The game is more popular than it's ever been. Fantasy football and player prop bets, all of this is all predicated on offensive football reigning supreme. No one's out there making player prop bets on 6-9 finals if that's the norm in the league, right? So they have all this incentive to allow offenses an advantage. And yet, in this instance, where they've actually added a disadvantage to the offense by making what used to be the rules for a catch for all of eternity, possession 2 feet, more complicated. And first of all, it just flies. There's actually a clause in that rule that says, unless it's blatantly obvious. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk pointed this out. That was a blatantly obvious touchdown. You don't need to go to the rule book. It was obviously a touchdown. 2 feet and a catch is obviously a touchdown. To anyone who's familiar with the game, that is just the way the sport is played. And it does no one any good, other than the Pittsburgh Steelers in this very narrow instance, for this to be the rule. It is stupid just to make the rule that a catch is possession and 2 feet always. It doesn't matter what you did after that. There will be more completions. So what? Let there be more completions. There will be more calls that are a catch and then a fumble. Likely's play, if it had been in the field of play, should have been a catch and then a fumble. But it was in the end zone, so it should have been a touchdown. And there's nothing wrong with that being a catch and then a fumble. Why is that something the league doesn't want? The thing that we all see as intuitive and obviously a catch, the definition that our brains want to have, would be easier to officiate, simpler, and fairer for everyone involved. And yet they add this completely unnecessary extra step that just makes it confusing and unnecessary. Just get rid of it. Just let a catch be a catch. And the Rodgers interception, he doesn't survive the ground. He doesn't hold on to the football to the ground. Where's the football move there? Is it different because his knees are down? But if his knees are down, then why isn't Likely's play over when he has 2 feet down in the end zone? None of it makes any sense. It's all completely – you have Flowers going to the ground out of bounds on one play, Austin going to the ground out of bounds on the other play. The ball moves after they contact the ground in both instances. One is complete, one is incomplete. Just have some consistency and pick a rule that has common sense. And all of this will be avoided. And the other thing is, sometimes controversy is good. The other thing that you're going to hear talked about a lot today is the decision to leave Notre Dame out of the college football playoff. the Fighting Irish deciding to take the ball and go home and refuse to play in a bowl, and the fallout of all that. Let me tell you this. The college football playoff wants that drama. It exists specifically to create that drama. The college football playoff was designed to include human element and drama. They want teams to get screwed. They want teams to feel like they're getting screwed so that we will tune in to watch their show about the rankings. This is all, it's not a scam per se, but it's all intentional, right? If they wanted to create a system where the ways to get into the college football were objective, that would be very easy to do. And it would be very easy to do fairly. They just have no interest in doing that. They want the controversy. They incite it on purpose. There's no reason for the NFL, especially in the age of gambling, to be creating controversy about the results. Walk around Baltimore today and ask people about the game. What do you think they're going to say? They're going to say it was the refs, first and foremost. And it's hard to say that they're wrong. Now, I think generally this is just a case of a poor rule being somewhat capriciously applied. But when all these calls come from New York and you have relatively low-paid people who are certainly susceptible to bribes, to influence, and we've seen this from Tim Donaghy all the way through college sports now, why would you include another level of ability for people to draw and bring into question the validity of your results? Make the game as simple as possible to officiate. Make the correct call for the official to make obvious to the audience. And you will have a lot more people believing in your product. And while the NFL is extremely popular, I do think the league is missing the undercurrent here, that there are a lot of people that legitimately believe, or at least feel strongly, that sometimes the results of these games are not legitimate. And that is a problem they're going to have to deal with. All of this growth based on fantasy sports, based on betting, based on player props, doesn't continue if there isn't belief in the legitimacy of the product. And I think they're in danger of losing that belief. And I think Sunday's result between the Steelers and the Ravens was a really good example of that. That's all I got for this morning. More on the Afternoon Drive, me, Smitty, 6 p.m. here on the YouTube channel and your audio platforms. Until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and enjoy.